Hello and welcome back to Alt Majority. I'm Shay.
And I'm Shannon. Thanks for joining us today. We're really happy to have you back with us. On our channel, we talk about law of attraction, we talk about spiritual awakening, about universe things, right, Shay? Really, and anything really that can help you make your life a little bit better, a little bit easier. And we are really grateful to have you with us listening today, watching here on YouTube or Spotify or Apple Podcasts, where you can find us.
Yes, let's raise our vibration together. Today we have a super interesting topic, which is going to be talking about our spiritual hygiene, things that we do to keep our vibrations high, but also to stay in the path of alignment for ourselves.
Right, because we will go through these moments that are definitely a spiritual high, where we will have these really intense experiences. We might have some bit of a awakening happening to us. But what we want to talk about is how to maintain that momentum
Yeah.
once you get it going, because life shows up on us and we have to go to work and pay our bills and deal with people that maybe trigger us. And we get out of our mojo kind of when it comes to that. And sometimes what spiritual awakening looks and feels like is kind of an up and down, where we have spiritual highs and sometimes we have spiritual lows. And we just have to recognize that we're not always going to feel at the top of our game at all times.
Yes.
Even those of us who feel like we're pretty spiritually awake and conscious, we all have our moments. So we have to actually do things to maintain our spiritual awareness. We have to do things to maintain our high vibration and protect our energies. And that's
Yeah.
really what we want to talk about today, is how to go about doing that stuff and what kind of things we do on a daily basis to kind of accomplish that. What is your daily routine kind of look like, and what types of things are you doing to really keep that high vibe going?
I love the concept of spiritual hygiene, because just like there's hygiene that you do for your body, right? This is just as important if this is the path that you're choosing to go down. It's not like you just like you were saying. It's not like you have one awakened moment and then poof, everything is like entered into a higher state of awareness. No,
Right.
it's a consistent practice. Looks different for everybody, by the way, so don't be overwhelmed by what we do. Find out what is good for you, what works for you. Please try anything that we also talk about in this podcast today, but also experiment with things that feel good to you.
Yeah, definitely follow your intuition, follow your body, pay attention to what your body feels like as you're doing different things. Is this helpful? I'll know if the way my body feels and responds, do I feel the energy rising up? If it doesn't connect or resonate with you, don't put time and energy into it. So find the things that actually work for you. Pay attention to that. That's a really important part of this process. So let's talk a little bit. Let's just start talking about the things we do to keep that energy high. And I'll just start off by saying the very main thing I will do, and everyone should really do if you're trying to put yourself on a spiritual awakening journey, is to meditate. I mean,
Yeah.
hands down, meditation, meditation, meditation. We've said this before. And it's more than just the practice of talking to yourself. It really is calming the mind. It truly, truly is going deep inside of yourself and finding your inner power. So, meditation is a practice. Just like we say we practice yoga, right? We don't necessarily do yoga, we're practicing. It's the same thing with meditation. It's a practice, it's a habit of the mind that we try to cultivate. And meditation has a myriad of benefits. There's a lot of science on what meditation does to your heart rate, what it does to your blood pressure, just what it does to your physical body, not to mention your mental health. And starting a routine where you can find a safe, quiet space where you can calm the body and calm the mind on a regular basis to
Mhm.
me is one of the best ways to keep your spiritual awakening going and to keep that vibration high.
Yeah, absolutely. I prefer to begin my mornings with a meditation just to set the tone to my day. Something I've been doing for like 4 years at this point is waking up every single morning, and making myself a lemon and or a lime warm water just to help my body eliminate. But also, it's like this moment to myself where I can just go inward and set the tone for my day. That's my most favorite time to meditate is the mornings when I feel most connected to source. And I haven't had anything in my day yet to penetrate my own vibration. So it's like just laying down that foundation of how I want to feel for the day.
Yeah, that's a really powerful time to meditate is right away in your morning. And it is because of what you said about it just sets your vibration for the day. But
Yep.
it actually just helps you check in with yourself
Mhm.
before your day begins and everything starts to go and you get distracted. It just gives you that moment, especially if you can practice this every day. And really, we're only talking about 10, 15 minutes. This is not something you need 2 hours to do necessarily.
Mhm.
Just 10, 15 minutes to sit quietly, to calm your body and mind, to just check in with yourself. How am I feeling? How am I doing? And then
Yeah.
just to breathe. And just to slowly, I like to do a witnessing meditation where I'm not thinking, I'm just noticing and witnessing things as they go by and really just clearing the mind, just calming the energies. And it's just such a nice time to do it in the morning because the energies are just they're still calm and you don't have the wherever you are on earth, especially in the hours really early in the morning. I know there was a time period where the universe was waking me up at about 2 a.m. because it's real quiet at 2 to 3
Yeah.
a.m. But even like 4 or 5, 6 a.m., it's still pretty quiet before the day has really gotten going. And it's
Mhm.
that time that you can take to yourself. And there's things that you can do in your meditations to definitely protect your energies. Things such as visualizing golden lights around your body. I actually like to do a thing where I visualize almost like a steel
Yes,
um,
me too, like an armor almost,
an
right?
armor, an enclosure, yes, that comes
Yeah.
around my body that absolutely does not allow anything in that I do not want. And I also spend some time building up my energy center and spending time in affirmation and just really affirming my being, really just affirming my worth and talking to myself and making sure that my thoughts, my emotions are in check mainly because it's both my thoughts and emotions that are going to determine my actions.
Right.
And I think we've talked before about not letting your subconscious take the action without your notice because it will. It definitely will. So you have to pay attention. And what's the key to figuring out what's going on with you is what are your emotions? What are you spending time thinking about? And this is one of the things you can sort out during meditation is pay attention to where are your thoughts going?
Yeah.
What are your emotions telling you? When you're experiencing a lot of negative emotion, it's telling you something. Because remember how your entire reality is for you, every single thing's in it. And part of the way that your higher self, your guides, whatever it is that you want to call that, the higher energies, part of the way they signal to you that something is off is they show you something in your reality that
Yeah.
creates an emotion that's often perceived as negative. And they're doing this so that we can notice it and change it because we we expand what we focus on. Remember?
Right.
And
Yes.
when we end up spending our mind's energy focusing on negative things, on negative affirmations, on negative attitudes, it expands and it doesn't allow for our beautiful manifestations to come in. It doesn't allow for the self worth to blossom. It doesn't allow for the types of things spiritual awakening actually requires, which
Right.
is some deep, honest truth telling to yourself, some deep shadow work, and some deep amounts of self love.
Mm,
you really got to love yourself
EP.
through this journey, because you may be feeling and experiencing things that seem really unusual and unique, and you might not even know who to even talk to about some of the things that you're experiencing. The universe has really pumped the energies up recently,
Yeah.
and there's just a lot coming through. So managing all that is really also part of what you're doing when you're meditating, and you're really
Yeah.
sorting through your feelings and thoughts and figuring out, how that's affecting your everyday actions.
And here's the most important piece of it to me is, so once I am finished with the meditation and I've kind of done this tune in with myself to see where my vibration lies at this moment, from there I can go into my toolbox and decide what's next. If I feel contented, well, then I can just continue on my day feeling contented. If I feel some type of emotion boiling to the surface, well, then I can do some type of activity or use some type of tool to help me release that. So, whether that's, one thing I love to do is to ground, go outside and release things into Mother Earth, do yoga and move the physical emotion out of my body. These are all things that tie into the spiritual hygiene, with the meditation being the moment for you to observe and see what it is you need to do
Yes.
to tend to that spiritual hygiene.
Yes, we've been talking about the chakras, and this is part of what you're doing too, is noticing, paying attention to where is the vibration off? Where are you
Yeah.
feeling a little bit of discomfort? Where are you feeling some uncomfortability? Maybe it's even pain that you're feeling. It's noticing that. I love that. So what you're saying is, I'm going to go in meditation, and then I'm going to know, hey, this is what I
Yeah.
need to do to move this on out. Then I'm going to work on it in some other way. Some type of physical practice is fantastic. Myself, I agree with you about yoga. It's such a beautiful way to move the energy out. And it could be any physical practice that you like to do. It
Yeah,
could be
absolutely. It could be
running,
a
it could
walk.
be walking. I mean, anything that really starts to physically move you is going to help move that energy out. We get really stuck. And if you think about, because everything is energy, just how thoughts and ideas get stuck in our head. And as we're
Yeah.
sitting, if we're literally sedentary, nothing is moving within us. So if we can get that body moving, it'll help move some of that mental energy out too.
Yes, and on the flip side, it's not only for um, these lower vibrations to move out. It's also for sparks of creativity I have. And it's like, okay,
Yes.
now let's get my body moving so that I can just get these juices flowing, or let me go journal, or paint, color, anything. This is all tied together, right?
All tied together. And once you kind of get in the momentum of it all works together to really kind of lead you from one thing to the next. So you've got your meditation practice going, whatever that looks like. You've got some movement going and getting your body moving, and you're going to go about your day. So how do you protect your energy? And what am I talking about when I say protect your energy? Just, you all have and are an energy field, and we
Yes.
interact with other people. So when we're wide open and we are allowing other people's energy to enter our field, maybe knowingly or unknowingly, it definitely affects us. So that's part of why we do things like protect ourselves with the shield of that we've imagined, or the golden light, or whatever it is that we're building around ourselves. And it's because we don't want to let the negative energies in. We want to
Yeah.
really hold our positive energies within our field and not allow negative energies to affect us. And this is also a practice that we do. So, a couple of the ways that I'm going to go about protect my energy is, first of all, I'm going to cleanse my field. All right, I'm
Yes.
going to cleanse myself. Now, whether you do this, before meditation or practice, whatever you do, it doesn't really to me matter. Um, but cleansing will look like physical showering, bathing, showering, and then picturing everything negative washing off my body while
Mhm.
I'm in the shower. I don't know if you do something similar, but
Yes.
just actually
Mhm.
just mentally cleansing at the same time. But there's also other ways to cleanse when you can't physically cleanse that way. There's things like burning sage. there's Palo Santo, there's things that you can, incense, something maybe, I know I have a ceremonial feather that I use that actually just like, if I can't burn something, I'll use that to just wave over my body. And part of it
Yes.
is, the smoke of the incense, it's a physical energy that helps move out and protect from the negative and clear those energies out. But also, and I think we've talked about how this is helping us focus. This is
Mm.
our energy connecting to something. Mother Earth gave us this tool that we have that really helps us tune in. And it's an affirming situation where we have the sage or whatever it is that we're burning, and we're putting it out in our energetic space, and mentally at the same time we're clearing, we're clearing, we're clearing. So there's a
Yes.
lot of different times I can do this on my body. I can do this for objects, and it's a really good way to just sort of cleanse the energy and start fresh. What else do you use, Shae, to cleanse?
Selenite. Selenite works the same as sage to clear the energy field. So specifically, if I know I'm going to be in crowds of people or around people who may trigger me, selenite is in my pocket 100%. And then when I am out and about, if I can feel that my vibration is shifting, if I just touch the selenite, I can remember that it is there, like protecting my field. And
Yeah.
another way that I protect my field is gratitude, because it instantly raises the vibration, right? So if I notice my vibration is drifting, I can bring it back to gratitude, and I can automatically, it's a protection to re-raise my vibration.
Yeah, no, I love that because it's just how the language you use is everything about how
Mm-hmm.
I'm heading off
Yep.
to work now. I have to go to work versus I get to go to work versus I'm going to perform service or whatever it is that you're saying. It definitely makes a
Yep.
difference of just your attitude, your mindset. It is everything. So I love that. It's almost as if you're going to cleanse your mental field of the negative things and then bump up that vibration with that. Man, I'm just grateful to be here. I'm just grateful for what I have. I'm grateful to be able to go to work. Some people can't even have that experience, so I'm real grateful to have it. It's definitely that idea. You can see how if you start your day with these
Absolutely.
practices, then you just show up in your day just ready to crush it, just ready to go about it and get
And
your
they carry
things done.
on.
Yes, and it
They
carries
carry
on and
and they carry on. It's
it
like
carries on.
specifically the gratitude. It's a practice of, once you get into this mindset, this attitude of gratitude, it's then someone approaches me, they are reacting to a situation or interacting with me at a low vibration, I can instantly be like, oh, well, I'm grateful for. If you circle your conversations with people back to gratitude, it's raising their vibration too. So
Yeah.
it's just raising the whole vibration of where you are. It's just, gratitude is such an underutilized tool. I think that is such an easy and beautiful way to connect with not only your inherent abundance, but just these energy fields that are surrounding everything.
That's why a gratitude journal is so powerful. When
Yeah.
you're writing it down and you're putting it on paper and you're speaking the words, we've spoken things into existence this way. You just
Yeah.
write it down and you affirm it. I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful for everything I have, and it just brings that vibration right up, and it leaves it right up.
Mhm.
And it's like where once I started to do this on a regular basis, I felt like I had magic powers. Like I found the secret to the universe. It's as if I'm going to grab on to the best feeling that I can get, and I won't let go. I refuse to let go of that good feeling no matter what happens. I'm just unshakable. I'm utterly unshakable. Something that comes into my field that's negative or that could possibly be perceived as negative, I'm just going to say, huh, that's interesting. And I'm not going to necessarily perceive it that way. I don't have to, because everything in my field is for me. Everything in my reality is for me. So maybe a teacher has just shown up to teach me something. And if I think of it that way, what in some circumstances may really manifest as a challenge, I might instead manifest this thing as a beautiful way to learn
Yes.
something that universe needed me to know. So thank you,
Yes.
universe. Thank you
And
for
you know
that.
what? We are all just reflections of the divine nature. And so make it recognizable. Like make
Yeah,
God notice, make yourself notice the gratitude in all things. It will change your life. It'll shift everything. It will
it'll
shift
shift it.
everything. Gratitude is okay. So what have we hit so far? Meditation. We've
Hmm.
hit now gratitude.
Yeah,
Two, I mean, I can't live my life without these things. They are so pivotal to my spiritual hygiene. I am not the same person when I forego those two things, which happens less and less frequently as you continue to practice because
yeah,
you realize how great it feels to be in the vibration that those two things bring you. I talked briefly about grounding, but something that is so pivotal to my spiritual hygiene is spending time in nature. Whatever that looks like, it looks a bunch of different ways, right? And it can be so simple as I have been in cities, right, that are like concrete jungles, there's nothing around me, and just connecting to something green, whether it's just like the flower coming out of the burst of concrete, like just connection to nature in itself is such an important part of my life. I am not the same when I don't.
yeah.
I'm not the
That's
same.
just connecting to the energies of Mother Earth, connecting to nature.
Yes.
Such a beautiful way to really just give us perspective,
Oh, it's
you
it's
know?
it's it's my most favorite way to realize my own smallness yet vastness. You know, nature is the most beautiful mirror, and nature is she is the greatest space holder there is.
Yeah,
There's no
easily.
judgment.
Easy. Yeah, easy. So I want to kind of circle back. You talked about selenite. I want to circle back a little bit to talk about crystals for a little bit because
Oh
crystals are
yeah.
obviously something that we utilize. And I
Mhm.
want to really talk about what is that about? Because we read this thing this weekend about amulets and what is an amulet. I thought it was so good. And really, the idea behind what is an amulet, let's say I spent some time and energy making a necklace. This necklace has citrine and crystal quartz in it. And really, I made it for a wealth and abundance and clarity of mind and positivity. And this is really what I wanted this necklace for. And as I was making it, I put some intention into it. And as I wear it, every time I wear it, it becomes basically an amulet because it ends up um, basically holding the energy of my intention. So it's a point of focus, it's a tool. And it's not as if any one of us can't walk around completely with no physical, protection tools or anything on us. Yes, we can. Of course, we can. It's almost just like a remembrance, almost just like you were saying. Put your hand in your pocket, you feel the selenite. It's like
Yeah.
when I feel this around my neck, it reminds me of both my goal to be an abundant, attractive force.
Yes.
And it just keeps me on my path to do so. It just reminds me of what I'm doing and it focuses my energy to it. So I can take this, becomes an amulet because of what I could put into it, right?
Yes.
And it's energy. It's just the same energy as I'm made up as of we know. It's made up the same things Mother Earth that I'm made up of. So I'm going to put intention into it. And because if I imbue upon it some protective powers, that's what it's going to do. So if this one is going to bring me wealth and abundance or clarity, that's what it's going to do. If I make one that I say to myself, this is going to be my protection, I put that on my body and I put intention into it, that's what it's going to do. It's going to help me get to that little bit of a protective space. And I just could be feeling vulnerable, or maybe I just like the beauty. Maybe I just like the vibration of the crystals. And I definitely, sure, it's a lot of that.
Well,
Whatever your,
everything is mental,
yeah,
right? So if you tell
everything
yourself
is
that's what
mental.
it is, that's what it is.
Yeah, that's what it is. So it only has power if you give it power. It only has power if you allow it to have power. But if
Yeah.
you do, it just can be a tool of the mind, a tool of the body to help get the vibration where you want. Again, reminding me of, hey, I want my vibrations up. I want
Yeah.
to keep that positive, happy energy always going, regardless of the circumstance, because I don't want to move off of that. It feels too good to be on a good vibration. I don't like it when I get to those low vibrations. And when I get down there, I do understand that that's just part of life. We talked
Hmm.
about that at the beginning. It's like the waves, and I can
Yeah.
feel the things that I need to feel because I'm a human. I might feel sadness or grief or whatever negative thing. Um, Again, I'm going to perceive it. I'm going to say negative, but it's just an emotion. It's just polarity, of course. I
Hmm.
can't feel the high without the low. I can't feel the joy without the despair. So I'm just going to allow those feelings to move through my body. That doesn't mean it's going to shake me from my ultimate vibration. That doesn't mean because I have a low moment that I can't get back up to the top. And that's
Yeah.
part of establishing a spiritual hygiene routine and
Yeah.
being consistent about it, that puts you into the place where when you do have the low moment or you do have that vulnerable point, that you're able to pull yourself up again, and you know
Yeah.
you'll be okay because you're going to be back into the swing of it. You're going to get yourself back up there because you've got your routine that puts you in your higher place.
Yes. And I just want to say another thing that has become a pivotal part of my spiritual hygiene is just paying attention to my astrology and what is going on in the stars, because it just allows me to then set up my day, my week, my month in a way that's going to prioritize my spiritual hygiene so that I'm able to best function in whatever energies that the planet is physically in the moment.
Yes, as you know, I've been studying astrology. It's been so fascinating to
Yes.
find out that there is a tool that we can use that actually helps us hone in on energies that affect us. It's so fascinating. I never would have thought astrology works, or I always thought there was nothing to it, that it was just like a superstition, that it was just a something made up. But once I started to actually study it and get into it, I found out, wow, you can get to some depths with yourself with astrology.
Okay.
It's really a tool of self reflection. And if you think of it that way, then you can really get the magic of astrology when you
Mhm.
really understand that it's a tool to help you weather the the storms of life. It's a tool to help you see the cycles, and that's really what has helped me, is just knowing that life cycles over and over. We experience these things, and if you pay attention to your life, you'll see it very often. You'll cycle through these moments that you'll find yourself repeating over and over within your relationships, at work, with your family. You'll start to repeat these cycles over and over. Um, and part of what astrology is doing is it's the psychological tool to help you notice the pattern. And
Yeah.
once you start noticing your pattern or behavior, then you can change it. We just like we were saying earlier about going into meditation and paying attention to what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Separate yourself a little bit from your actions and almost study yourself as if you're an outside observer. And if you notice yourself taking actions that are actually against your best self interest, this is where you pay attention and don't do those things anymore, or work to stop doing those things, work to change those habits, work to change, especially those habits of thought that are putting you into a negative mindset. So, the spiritual routines just make it that much easier to get back into the flow once you've kind of been kicked out of it for whatever reason, whether you kicked yourself
Right.
out or somebody else has kicked you out. Yes,
Yeah. And just
yes,
because everything is mental, everything we create is mental, everything we perceive filters through the mind. So much
mhm,
of what spiritual hygiene is doing is just balancing your awareness and just
yes,
becoming the observer, not to take to learn to not take things personally.
right. Yeah, definitely. So another one of the things that we do to really keep our vibrations high is we do ceremonial things.
Mm.
And I there's something about ceremony that just sort of brings the vibration to a very unique point that I don't think anything else can do it.
Yeah.
Um, and it's part of why, religions use ceremony. It's like almost like a bonding thing that the members do. It's like the mantras, it's the prayers, it's the things we do that just put us into that vibrational mindset. So when we're doing ceremonies, whether it's like a moon ceremony or some type of ritual to ourselves, like a releasing ceremony or a healing ceremony or whatever it is we're doing, we're trying to tap into those universal energies. The ceremonies are, it's like something where the universe recognizes the pattern. There's resonance in those things, what we call morphic resonance, meaning the universe has an energy around those things and it recognizes it. So when we start to do the ceremony, it recognizes what we're doing and it's seeing that pattern that it knows. And therefore, then it brings the energy in to support us. So that's why the ceremonial things feel so sacred. When you cleanse your body, when you put on ceremonial clothing, when you're saying scripted words that have been said by people for millennium before you, the universe sees and knows what that is. And there's just something so beautiful and special that happens when you participate in ceremonial things. It's especially when you're doing with a group. It's just such
Yeah.
a way for alignment to occur. It just puts everybody in the same alignment, in the same frequency. And that's when like the group manifestations really can take off, the group co-creations,
Yeah.
whether if you're doing with a bunch of other people, but also when even if you're in ceremony alone, which I know there's ceremonial things that I do that's just me,
Yeah.
but I'm co-creating with the universe at that moment. And it's no different. I'm going through the pattern. I'm sparking the resonance. I'm asking the universe to guide me and bring those energies in to help me. And those things that I do, whether I physically set up an altar that has objects that remind me that are a particular point of focus for me, that have a particular resonance in my brain, a memory or something that brings up my vibration. It could be I'm looking at physical objects, I'm praying to something or around something, or I'm addressing a deity, or I'm addressing energies or angels or guides. All of those things we do in those ceremonial moments help keep us on that spiritual journey. It just makes us feel like we're part of something bigger.
It connects you to that divinity that's just a layer higher than what our human forms uh
Yeah.
can attain here. It is this, it's creating this wave of energy, and it really does feel like a wave, doesn't it? Especially when you're with other people who are co-creating the ceremony together. It's just this beautiful wave of energy that just brings you higher into those higher realms of being, of awareness, and in a way it zooms you out, right? And it's such a reminder. It's such a reminder in a beautiful way to clear your channel, to hear, to listen. And and when you start to get the downloads, it all kind of clicks into place, doesn't it? It all like piggybacks off of each other to remind you of what it is your actual purpose is here. And that's the whole reason of the spiritual hygiene, is just to keep you aligned in your purpose for even being here.
Yes, to keep you aligned, to keep you noticing, to keep you awake, to keep from sliding backwards into, ego, from sliding backwards into victim thinking, from sliding backwards into blame, and all of those very natural human emotions that happen to all of us that actually just stop us from getting what we want, from stop us from being happy, stop us from enjoying our lives when we really start to focus on the negative parts. So all of these practices really help keep us up. And so even there's practices I can do before bed. And this is actually really important because what's on your mind as you're falling asleep is just that's where you're going for the
Yeah.
night. I mean, who hasn't had the nightmare, the dream where they just can't get out of this problem. They just can't solve it. And they just keep having the same situation over and over, the same nightmare or something over and over. And, as you go to bed, and you have these chaos or conflicts in your mind, that's going to affect your sleep. So also moving out the energy before sleep, either through physical practice, again through some meditation, just some quiet, just time to yourself, putting down the technology. As we're scrolling our phones, just we have an incredible amount of information coming into our brains that we're trying to process. So if you have your phone in your face until the very second you close your eyes and go to sleep, you still have all that going. So your mind can't be really in a higher spiritual place. I mean, yes, we could be listening to spiritual things or music or something like that can get us in a higher space. And I get it. Sometimes people will listen to like meditations to sleep, and that's not really talking about that. I'm just, I'm talking about, scrolling social media and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and stuff that really just takes your mind out of the higher places. So
Yeah.
make sure your mind is in the higher place when you're going to sleep. Put your mind in that space of gratitude, whether it's just you're journaling a little bit, whether it's you're saying your prayer and thanks and gratitude to the universe or your day. Hey, this is everything I saw today. It was amazing. Thank you so much. Like, I'll take
Yeah.
more of that one. Thank you for that lesson. Wow, that was a tough one. Hey, guide, what can you tell me in my sleep? Like, that's kind of the type of stuff I do when I go to sleep. So I can almost like prepare my body and brain for sleep.
Yeah.
I want everything out of it. I got my dream journal like sitting next to my bed, waiting for me to wake up and write in it. I'm asking my guides, hey, if there's something I need to know in my sleep tonight, please let
Yeah.
me know. I want to know. Hey, or I got a question. Sometimes you ever have a question and you're like, I'm going to put this question out to the universe and I'm going to dream on this. That's the stuff that really just feeds you. And, some of us just are naturally more drawn to the spiritual. Definitely. But also, it is something you can cultivate if you are
Yeah.
called to it. And we're really talking to you if you're somebody that considers yourself an empath, a light worker, somebody who's a healer, and somebody who really is striving to have a spiritual awakening and keep it going. Why do you even want the spiritual awakening? I'll tell you why. I mean, joy. There you go. Just that. Just, I don't worry about anything now. I wake up and I just put my feet on the ground. I'm so grateful to be alive. And I go about crushing things in my day and I don't expand negative energy. It's nuts how happy I am. I'm a magical being. So, how about that? Wouldn't you like that? Just that alone. Wake up, friends. Just wake up and know that most of what you're worried about is not even important. Most of what
Everything
you're
is
worried
for
about,
you.
everything
Everything
is
is
for
for
you.
you.
Don't put your energy worried about what other people think about you. Don't put your energy into worrying about what other people are saying or doing. Put your energy into you. You know what feels good. You know what is right for you. Spill all of that energy into you instead of out into the world, right?
Yes, yes, yes,
Yes.
yes. And I was just listening to this thing that was saying we need to expand our definition of the self, right? Because the self isn't just me. The self is me. The self is you. The self is my neighbor. The self is
Yes.
people at the restaurant next door. It's all of us. So if you're somebody who maybe thinks it's selfish, to spend this time, I spend a lot of time in my own self development, not
Yeah.
just for myself, for the selves of for all of us, for all of us.
Yes. Yes, because I want to put the knowledge into the collective consciousness. I totally agree with that. Never stop learning, never stop educating yourself. That's another way to keep it going.
Oh
I
yeah.
never stop reading books. I definitely don't know it all. There's so much out there to learn. I never stop learning. I never stop seeking. I never stop trying to find more information, more answers, more is basically what I'm
Let
going
me
for. I want to keep my brain active, my whole entire
yeah.
human game. So I'm never going to stop learning.
And like I'm only 25. You're only
Right.
52. We have so much of our
So
lives
much to
ahead of us
go.
still. So I try not to get myself trapped in expectations ever.
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
I'm always asking the universe, how much better can it get? And I'm always asking for the unexpected things to happen to me, because those are the things that fuel me, that literally keep me going.
Yeah. And I'm open to receiving. And that's
Yes.
huge. And that's another thing that you have to cultivate if you want to have a spiritual awakening, keeping going. If you
Yes.
want
And
to
that's
get that, keep going. You have to be open to receiving. You have to be ready to receive. You can't be afraid of being successful. You can't be afraid of winning. You can't be afraid of getting that thing that you
which
want.
circles us back to, this is why we do the spiritual hygiene. It's not
This is
just to
why.
calm the mind, it's also for our own vessel, it's also for our energy field, it's also for the energy field of the entire earth. That's why we're
Yeah.
here, right? The two
Yeah.
of us specifically know deeply that it is part of our purpose here to raise the vibration of the collective. And
Yeah.
so everything I do is not only for me, it is for you.
Yes, because you are worth it, beautiful one. You are worth it,
So
dear one, just as much as I am. We are all worth it. So it's just, again, going back to self love. Show yourself that self love. Invest in yourself, whether it's your time, your energy, your money, invest it in you. You are your most precious resource. You are the prize. You are the one that matters. And it's not selfish to care for yourself and have self care, things that you do. Everything that Shay and I are talking about are the things that we do for self care. These are
yeah.
self care. This is what I think of. It's essential for me to have time in the morning. I need a couple hours in the morning to myself just for self care, just to talk to myself, just to get downloads from the universe, to do affirmations, to really boost myself up, to boost those energies up so that when I go out into the world, I can do amazing things. I can heal, I can teach, I can shine my light as
You
far
can be
and
open
wide
to
as
receiving.
possible. Yes, and I can be open to receiving because everything the universe has for me is for me. So I want it. I'll take it. I'm ready to use it to not only help myself, but like Shay said, everyone else. Our collective consciousness raises when one of us raises up. So as we raise, it brings the entire collective up. So this is part of what we're doing this, as she said. So we want this for us, for our own spiritual awakening, but also for you, for also for you. And we're so grateful to have you in this journey with us because as you bring your vibration up, it actually brings mine up too. So thank you for actually going through this journey with us. We're so grateful for your presence. We're co-creating this whole thing with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so wow, we have a bunch of things that we do. It sounds like I feel pretty proud of us, Shay. Like,
I feel pretty
actually,
proud
we
of us
just,
too, and I know there's
yeah,
more. There's
I know
more
there's
in there.
more. I know there's
But
more.
that is a really, really good start. And if you're somebody who's looking for tips and tools to implement into your life to get the ball rolling or to stay in a higher level of consciousness, well, here you go. Here's a whole slew of them. Feel free to try them out. In the comments below, let us know if there's anything else that you do for your spiritual hygiene. All is welcome. All is welcome, right? And the more that we know, the more we can share with each other, the more we can teach each other, the better.
Yeah, we're all connected, as you know. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your willingness to be open to our words. We're so grateful for your presence. And we really look forward to seeing you next week.
Yes, let's continue to learn and grow together. I love you. Thank you for being here. And we will see you next Monday.